time to bring you all the action from the 2018 running of the Midas Tzaneen Rally. All this action brought to you by Midas Tzaneen, Pretoria North Toyota, Autobar Fitment Centre and Raceline Motorsport. The Tzaneen Midas Rally made up round number 3 of the WOMSA National Rally Championship 2018. And 2017 gave us some of the most spectacular action we have seen. Over 20 cars making the trip up this time around, and much more race prep and experience coming into play for 2018. Most of the cars were repeat entries and knew exactly what they were in for. 9 stages of rally racing, plenty of tarmac, 3 night stages, and 2 full days of racing action. A couple of new crews were going to be in the mix as well, a couple of new vehicles, and as we saw with the 2017 running, once again we'd have a couple of side-by-sides making the jump across into the big bad world of national rallies. Before we went into it, it was a case of talking to the local municipalities who had been instrumental in putting together this amazing event. As always, Midas Tzaneen were going to be our host and the main area of DSP to start things off and be the focal point for the entire weekend. A classic car show was brought into the mix as well to make sure that the staff and all of the spectators knew exactly what was going to be on the play and what they were in for the entire 2 days of racing. Midas Tzaneen, huge backers in this event. Their staff and their supporters were going to be instrumental in putting this incredible event together, and as always they were down there on point making sure that all supplies, partners and sponsors were credited with this event. We caught up with Henny and Krista Smith before the event to talk about their involvement.
I want to say to all the people, welcome to Tzaneen Midas 2018. My involvement in the rally is totally, it is motorsport. The guys is putting their life online to entertain the people here. We're looking forward to see the show today and tomorrow. It's hard work, it's not easy. We're gonna drive, they're gonna drive through the night. And tomorrow early they're gonna start again.
We are from Sabi, as everyone knows. This is our second race, our second race for the year. First time my father is going to navigate for me. It's going to be quite difficult because it's 2 drivers in 1 car. Oh yeah, that says enough. So yeah, I'm a bit nervous, but we're quite excited for this rally.
The Tzaneen Midas Rally started with all cars convening at the Midas Rally headquarters, of course outside Midas Tzaneen. That was going to be to get ready for a ceremonial start. The cars would be taken through the streets of Tzaneen, introduce themselves to all the locals, and then they'd be going out into the first racing special. So it was all relaxed and everyone was quite chilled before the start of this incredible race. Like we said, 21 cars would be joining the fray, covering a spectacular array of vehicles. Up to date, all-wheel drive S2000s, and going back into some of the tail-wagging classic vehicles that would no doubt be looking forward to the sweeping roads and spectacular scenery offered by Tzaneen. Dry Dust Bowl racing was going to be the order of the day for the 2 days of the event, smack bang in the middle of winter. It was going to be a challenge to all concerned, but with that in mind, the roads had been graded and were in the best condition they had ever been coming into the rally. Morensky Holdings and the GTM had done 126 kilometers of scraping to prepare the roads for all of the special stages for the Midas Tzaneen Rally. That's never happened before, so we knew we were going to have some of the best times and most spectacular racing at the 2018 running of the event. Peter Palooza and Willem Morgan were going to be local favorites, and they had plenty of support before the event. With Peter parked in pre-race alongside all of the 21 entries, it was time to get a little bit serious as everyone had to park up, get out of their kit, and get ready for a quick driver's briefing to know how the race event was going to be scheduled going forward. Cobus Chronovolt was going to take the drivers through what went down to give them an idea of road markings and how the books had been written, to give an idea of safety, speed, what to watch out for, what to be aware of, and what to look forward to at the Midas Tzaneen Rally. A couple of new faces were down there in driver's briefing, looking a little bit nervous, with some of the old stalwarts of National Rally looking relatively comfortable going forward into the first event. It was up to Big Henny to open up the event and give all of the spectators, sponsors and racers alike the big high five before we went into officially race day. Our dignitaries, first off it was Councillor BJ Ramadeepa, our member of the sports cluster and the GTM, that opened up and welcomed all of the competitors for the event. Straight after that, it was once again Kobus opening up the start procedure before we got 21 cars out there onto the first 4 stages of the event. Join us after the break as we go racing at the Midas Tzaneen Rally.
Hello and welcome to another all-action episode of Crash. 30 minutes worth of not just crash, but smash, bash and trash as well. Be it on 4 wheels or 2, pedal power or turbo power, off-road and on it, there's plenty coming your way.
Hello, you're watching Global Investor on Business Day TV. I'm Simon Brown.
Want to learn how to trade and build an international investment portfolio? Then join Simon Brown and his market experts on Global Investor. Each week, they'll look at some of the top international stocks and give you strategies to help grow your investments.
People don't look at South African risk if you're outside of the country. You look at emerging market risks.
Yeah.
If there are trade wars or if Turkey goes pear-shaped, we expect some part of the portfolio to hurt whilst others will be compensated.
That's Global Investor Weekly on Business Day TV.
Demand Kraftwerk, the tool brand used by professionals the world over.
Welcome back to Mud, Dust and Gears as we continue our coverage now on race day of the Tzaneen Midas National Rally for 2018. Cars had already been through scrutineering and through documentation. Now it was time to do the send-off. Our lead-out vehicle would be Tians Viljoen and Tila in the Midas promo car, not to be raced, but would be opening up the track for us. The first true race car would be Kobus Groenewald and Corné van Tonder in their Toyota Runex A7. Would be a car to watch out for, running in the Autobar colours. Very strong pace in this area. Tian Schubert in some new colours for Salom Racing, alongside for the first time Henry Kerner in their S2000 version of the Toyota Auris. On paper, a massive threat to walk away with the overall. The side-by-sides, the giant killers that we introduced in last year's running of the event, Nico Durant and JG Klaassen, would be the first of the incredible Can-Am Mavericks to go on out there. Slight change up on the tyres and the setting for rally, normally racing in cross countries. Ronnie Burtis and Lawrence Duplessis would make up the second of 3 entries coming in from the side-by-sides. Marco Ferreira and Hannes Pienaar in the world-famous Subaru Impreza, the 213, would be looking to try and do the big chase down. Their big threat would be Tian Schubert up the road. Peter Walter and Sean de Villiers have had an incredibly consistent season so far, but this would be the first of their rally events for 2018, choosing to focus so far on 2018 in cross-country and off-road events. Ismail Sher Mohammed and Pierre Jourdan trying to find some form as they are now in their second season of racing their Toyota Auris S2000, a former Janelle de Villiers race vehicle, so we know it's got some pedigree. Ati Klotter and James Thompson, another one of many Subaru Imprezas in the lineup. Going back into some of the older Toyota Corollas that will be scoring in the classics, Pierre de Klerk and Tommy, and then Loert de Klerk, no relation by the way, alongside JP Jourdan in the first of the Toyota Tazers. The Ford Escort of Natty Boyens and Johan Smith, very strong. Expect to see these guys challenge for a top 5 overall, but also scoring in the classic events. It is a tasty car, that one. They'll be pushed hard by the Mazda X2 and the incredible sounding vehicle from Anton Ratz and Louis Menga. Dick and Hugo Palace would be the first of the Nissan entries. and a huge following of Nissan Sentras up in this area of Africa and Southern Africa, as well as crossing the border into Limpopo. We see a lot of those cars. Last year was the first time we saw this car out, the Nissan Z350, developed by Johan and Susan de Bruyn. Much more development on the car and much improvement on the driver. Bianca, and this time Nick, father, Tennyson in the Opel Corsa. Normally it's the two sisters. This time it's father and daughter on the wheel. Andre Roths and Caro Storm in the first of the VW entries, the Golf 3, and the first of our all-lady entries, and a very, very impressive pedigree in 2018 so far. Definitely a crew to watch out for. The second of the Opel Corsas of Eddie Simpson and Isabel Ratz. And straight after that, another Impreza, Dean Reddy and Moritz Brits. The Subarus, very popular up in Limpopo and further up in north of Africa. The second of the Nissan Sentras this time, the ever-popular Peter Palooza and Willem Morgan in the 166. Watch out for the crowd favourites to shine at this year's event. The Skyline of Keith Dalport and Murray Ducati. One of the classic Skylines, as in raced by Cyril van der Merwe back in the day. Stage number 1 would be at the testing grounds. This was going to be an extra shakedown stage for the drivers and a spectator stage alike, allowing them to get used to the road books and how the notes were written. We caught up with a couple of drivers.
I'm Tzaneen from Tzaneen. Been a rally driver for many years, but retired about 10 years ago, and using my car as a promotional vehicle for Myra Tzaneen. Looking forward to it, a bit nervous. Like I say, I haven't done this for a long time, but really looking forward to it.
On to the specials then, and this was an extremely technical layout. Car number 1 showing us the way it's done. It wasn't too long ago that we saw a lot of the Uno Fires and the Uno Turbos going out there and racing in the rallies. The first man to go into full attack mode, great shot from our camera crew, getting right up into the eyes of Thuyen Chabert and Henry Kerner. The first time they've been up to Tzaneen, and the first time they've been in the chair together as well, to try and figure out the relationship between driver and co-driver. Tians is very familiar with the vehicle, and he's running good pace in all the championships that he races in throughout the season and across Africa. This is the first time on the roads and the area around Tzaneen, and the first time in the chair with Henry Kerner. Henry normally in the seat with Richard Leak Jr. in a front-wheel drive Fiesta. This time around he gets the treat of a Toyota Auris S2000. Nico Durant and JG Klaassen in the Can-Am Maverick. Last year I gave these guys and all these cars the mantra of being giant killers. The reason for that was they really walked away with a lot of wins and beat out the all-wheel drive production vehicles and a lot of very much more experienced crews out there on the tracks. This time around on the tarmac, a little bit of a handful, but light, agile vehicles would see them run good pace on the opening stages. Big Ronnie Burtis getting the job done. He would be chasing down his big victory up here in Tzaneen alongside Lawrence Duplessis in the second of the Can-Am Mavericks. Choosing to not change up their setup for the tarmac stages, running very, very high on the suspension, meaning there was going to be a ton of body roll, and these are two big lads as well, so there's a lot of weight sitting quite high up in the Mavericks, but that would all change up out on the dirt stages when things would get super fast. The first of the big all-wheel drives to do the chase down on the Auris, and the first of the Subaru Imprezas, would be Marco Ferreira and Hannes Pienaar. Looking in good form so far in 2018 as well, but essentially using the first stage as a shakedown. Peter Walter and Sean de Villiers have been in incredible form on the cross-country and off-road circuit, and this would be their first rally that they'd raced in 2018. The sprint stages, having to change the driving style and the note shouting as well into a more attacking format of approach. The G66 would be looking for a win in the side-by-side category. Ismail Sher Mohammed and Pierre Jourdan, the second of the S2000 Toyota Aurises. The 103 looking for a little bit more form in 2018. It is his second season behind the wheel in the car and still learning his way through rally. Not coming from any other form of motorsport, straight into rally and starting to find his feet and find his form and start to be able to challenge for positions in this incredible former factory Toyota race vehicle. The second of the Subaru Imprezas, Ati Klotter and James Thompson in the 404, will be looking for bragging rights up here in Tzaneen to see if they could walk away as the fastest of the Scooby-Doos and get the job done. One of the older classic formats of the Toyota Corolla, this time Pierre Klotter and Tommy Kutsia. This would be a rear-wheel drive version of the vehicle. Slightly different driving style on the 205. And then you go into the Toyota Taz, which would be the front-wheel drive format. So Luc de Klerk and JP Jourdan. Very tricky. We've seen that in National Championship this year as well. A totally different driving style, trying to wag the tail on a front-wheel drive. Nati Boyson and Johan Smit, they know exactly how to hang the tail out on the Ford Escort. And the classic Mark II shape was going to be a crowd favorite for sure. They'd be going up the best sounding car in rally at the moment, in my opinion, the Mazda X2 of Anton Ratz. And Louis Menga, the Rotary, made famous in the early and late 90s and still going strong. If you can get those rotaries in the sweet spot, they run forever. They're high revving though, and that's why they sound so sweet. The first of the Nissan Sentras this time around, Dick and Hugo Palas. They know exactly what they're doing. You can see that they are familiar with the terrain and very familiar with their vehicle. Johan and Susan de Bruyn, a lot of development over the last 2 years on the Nissan Z350, the only one in full rally spec on African soil at the moment, and we're expecting to see a much improved drive in 2018. Bianca, normally alongside her sister, and this time around it's dad, Nick Tieneson, on the notes for the first of the Opel Corsas. It's going to be bragging rights between the Opels. I think we saw 3 entries from the front-wheel drive Opel Corsa Lights at this event. Andrea Raths and Cara Storm, 2 ladies getting the job done, and the VW Golf 3 looks like it is in sublime form in 2018. Watch out for these guys to hustle their way inside of single digits, inside the top 10. Eddie Simpson and Isabel Raths, the second of the Corsas, and then another Subaru Impreza with a big dump valve there, out there on the spectator stage. That's why they're a fan favorite. But no one's more of a fan favorite than Peter Palooza, the local man. Keith Delport and Murray Ducasse in the Nissan Skyline will take us out to the break. Join us afterwards when we see who is still in the rally and who has had some early issues.
On this edition of Racing with Celebs, we catch up with Jay Duplessis, the lead man from Eden, and see whether or not he's got what it takes to run with the Midvaal Historic Car Club. We head to Midvaal. Join us for the action on Ignition, DSTV channel 189.
Hey guys, get your thinking caps on. What lives up in space and keeps us entertained and in the know? That's right, satellites. Ever thought about all the super cool stuff these amazing machines can do? Then why not enter the DSTV Eutelsat Star Awards competition? Although satellites are used in all sorts of ways, there's always room for improvement. In an essay or poster, tell us where you think their full potential has not been reached. And you could be jetting off to Paris and further on to French Guiana to see a live satellite launch. How cool is that? Just ask this previous winner.
The experience definitely helped me so I could shape my future.
Download the entry form from DSTVStarAwards.com or visit your nearest multi-choice office to enter. Competition closes on the 12th of October. So, get creative and reach for the stars with the DSTV Eutelsat Star Awards, creating space for African ideas.
Some great support there. That's Dean Bradbury and the clan up there hanging out on stage number 2. Canal, 17.7 kilometers. And the first time in Tzaneen that we have tasted a little bit of mud, dust and gears. Not too much mud out here in the forest though, but you've got to love Tzaneen. I love the forest out here. It's incredible terrain, and Limpopo has got so much to offer. It really does. Thierry Joubert and Henry Kerner are going to be opening up the track as the sun starts to set in the forest. The S2000 lights up, and it's time to go racing full on, big time, for real, in Tzaneen. This is an incredibly spec car as well. They do a lot of work on this vehicle in between all of the events. And this guy puts in the mileage, racing national championships all around the country. But everyone will be chasing this man, the reigning champion, coming out of the Tzaneen Midas Rally for 2017. Nico Durant and JG Clausen trying to walk away with top honors once again. They went straight out into attack mode. Ronnie Burtis and Lawrence Duplessis coming on as a very strong pairing as well. The second of the Can-Am Mavericks. Remember, these guys run the Infinity gearbox, which means there's just 2 pedals under the feet, a stop and a go, and lots of suspension to play with. Subaru Impreza will have been custom made for the setup, and these incredible roads in the forest of Tzaneen, custom fit for Marco Ferreira and Hannes Pienaar. A gentle start though, coming out of the gate, not wanting to destroy the gearbox or drive shafts too early on. Peter Walter and Sean de Villiers were the second of the side-by-sides. You'll notice as well, these guys do not run any windscreen, so the elements are coming straight into the cab. They'll be praying they don't catch up to any of the dust. Shur Mohammed and Jordan do the attack in their Toyota RS S2000. It should be one of the most comfortable cars around this short sprint circuit. The Subaru Impreza of Clotter and Thompson do the chase down. And as we get into the cars, around about 10th out into the stage, start to really lose the light, and this is deep into the forest, just to give you a driver and co-driver eye view of how demanding it truly is in the forest of Tzaneen. You please note, if you go off track, you're going to be up close and personal with the trees. The first of the Toyota Classic Corollas heads on out there, getting chased down by the wheel-spinning, fire-breathing front-wheel drive Taz of de Klerk and Jordan. The front-wheel drives in this loose, powdery dirt are really going to battle to get the traction going. Ati Boyson and Johan Smit into full attack mode, and this, as we often say on television, not giving you an idea of how really steep the first section of the stage truly is. Ras and Manga getting the rotary fired up, and the Nissan Z1000 following suit. So much development going into that car to make sure they can get the power down. The Corsa gets fired out, chased down by the V-Dub. Yes, in fact, I did spot a V-Dub 3 out there. Some issues on the vehicles though, and the DRP at night is tricky, not only for the drivers, but also for the pit crew.
Tzaneen Rally, I'm from Letseteli, local driver. As you can see with my local fan club here with the car, we're racing car number 215. It's an open class car, which is an old S2000 cars, all-wheel drive, 2 liters, sequential gearboxes. And I must say we enjoy it here in Tzaneen stages, in the forestry. It's excellent stages.
Hi guys, I'm Marco Ferreira. I'm Hannes Pienaar. And we race our 2000 GT Subaru, sponsored actually by my dad. It's my dad's car. And we're sponsored by Q4 Fuels and Italian Panel Beater Racing. We'd like to thank Midas Tzaneen for the opportunity to race here. It's been awesome so far.
Hi guys, I'm Andrea Rods and this is Cora Storm. We're from Pretoria and our car number is 211, all ladies team. Today's rally was very technical, but a lot of fun. And we just want to thank all of our sponsors. First of all, God for protecting us, and Young Nails, our nails, and then Oru, our club, Nansfield O2 Paint, and O2 Bar. Thank you so much.
At the end of day number 1 of the Midas Tzaneen Rally, it was Thierry Schubert that had a stranglehold on the field at the moment. Number 2 was Pierre de Klerk, and third, a surprise finish for Shur Mohammed. Some of the early casualties though, Kobus Kronevold was out even before completing stage number 1. Nico Durant went out early on with gearbox problems that left just 2 side-by-sides, and then the rotary rolled over, that was Roth's out. And with day 1 in the bag, join us tomorrow when it gets a little bit more serious. Day 2 of the Midas Tzaneen Rally.
This is Ingenuity. In this episode, the growth of the SUV segment, going for a spin with Susie Wolf, and jumping for joy in Sweden.
Catch the second season of Small Biz MBA with your host Yasmin Ali. as she speaks to guest experts breaking down the fundamentals of business, and they give you a step-by-step guide on how to navigate your way into the world of business.
There's so much information out there. How people connect with us is really important.
The more rare the color, the more investable a diamond is.
So it might not be someone that is going to buy the product, but it might be someone who has that amount of money to invest in the business.
That's Small Biz MBA, only on Business Day TV.
Car Chase's man. Car Chase on Stunt Heroes.
Of course I have a chance, I only have to be quick.
Spectacular drifts and full body implementation. Yeah, it's really a dangerous stunt. You can get seriously hurt.
Day 2 of the Tzaneen Rally was going to be a 5-stage day, and some very beaten up cars greeted the drivers when they arrived for pre-race.
Good morning, my name is Louis Menga from S&J Auto in Tzaneen. Just want to say welcome and thank you to everybody that helped us with the rally. We were, at the moment when the accident happened, we were second overall in stage 4. And yeah, too much speed, and unfortunately we are out now, but we are all okay, and we're going to carry on with the red Golf today just to finish as a non-scorer, but we will manage.
Yeah, we broke ball joint last night. Fortunately got it going again with arrow rules. We take a 10-minute penalty, but we can carry on racing. So Marco was leading the rally at one stage yesterday. So it's looking good.
Yesterday with the stage 1 we had a little bit of a hiccup. There was a little bit of misunderstanding through the notes and everything, but we managed to get out of the stage 1. On the mine shaft on the downhill, maxilla cable hooked and the revs went up to 8,000. It was terrible. I could not even go further, but at the end of the stage I managed to get out and get one of the auxiliary cable there by Midas.
My name is Stephen Muller. I'm involved with the off-road rescue unit from Nelspruit. We are a volunteer group and we like to do a lot of off-road racing, helping people. We also do high-angle rescue.
Tzaneen Rally.
Day 2 would open up with the shooting range. It was going to be a sprint stage, 5.73 kilometers to get things dusted off, and the feature of this stage was an extreme descent around about the 3/4 marker. Everyone was going to go out there and make sure they were in the zone. Remember, this was the first full daylight racing stage of the 2018 running of the Tzaneen Rally. Marco Ferreira was in good nick as well. Of course, they'd had their issues out there on day number 1, but we're going to try and climb their way back into a potential points and championship event lead. The Impreza was impressive as always. To go on board with them to show you how tight things are on this stage. No mistakes. You cannot go offline. Most of the stage was scraped and laid out around about a car and a half wide. Peter Walter and Sean de Villiers were in good shape as well, as they now move themselves up into the lead in the side-by-sides. Luke de Klerk and JP Morgan, they were also in good shape. Remember, they came into this rally second in championship points, just 2 points behind championship leader Marco Ferreira. Ronnie Burtis and Lawrence Duplessis were the second of the Can-Am Maverick side-by-sides. This was a sprint course that would suit them down to the ground. The Nissan Z350 of Johan and Susan de Bruin were looking to stay within the top 10 overall, and were in full attack mode on the sprint stage. Andrew Ratz and Caro Storm would storm off the line in the VW3. The Golf was in good shape as well, but does prefer the longer stages. The sprint stages a little bit tight on the turning circle there. Full attack mode though, and full aggression from the two girls out there in the 211 entry. Not too busy on the notes as well. A lot of big straights and flowing turns. The stage to open up day number 2 was very much a dust-off stage to get things nice and loose. Ati Boysen and Johan Smit always going to be showing some incredible form, easing their way into the turns and trying to figure out how much traction there was or how much traction there wasn't in the powdery dust in the forest around Tzaneen. Anton Ratz and Louis Menga stepping out of the rotary after having their issues with the rollover into their spare car, the V-Dub Golf, a new vehicle on the lineup sheets for day number 2. Eddie Simpson and Isabel Ratz stayed on point in their indestructible Opel Corsa, and it was the Corsa in-fight battle between themselves and Bianca and Nick Tennyson. The Baby Hulk was looking good as always, and they were enjoying the very Sabi-esque feel to this first stage of day number 2. Peter Palooza, with his throttle cable issues all sorted going into day number 2, himself and Willem Morgan in their Nissan Sentra would try and recover their lost time. Keith Delport and Marie Ducassi in the Nissan Skyline were doing a good job at the moment. And the grading of the roads would have helped them out immensely. Not a lot of suspension travel on that Skyline, so the smoother the better. Reddy and Brits were looking to climb the ladder. This is where the Subaru Impreza 247 entry would start to come to life, although it did sound like it had a bit of a misfire in the early stages of day 2. Stage 6 would be a repeat of Canal that was run on day number 1, so once again it was going to be a long one, 17.7 kilometers, but this time in the full daylight. Ismail Sher Mohammed and Pierre Jourdan were doing a good run at the moment, staying inside the top 3 overall, and probably the best drive of their short rally career so far. Pierre de Klerk and Tommy Kutsia were also trying to climb the ladder as they got themselves inside of a top 10 coming out of stage number 6. They'd be playing the long game as far as the rally went. We jump on board then with Marco Ferreira and Hannes Pienaar. They were coming back from their ball joint issues that they suffered on the dam route, and they were going to be trying to climb the ladder eventually on special stage 6. They did end up as second fastest, showing their form, but obviously now in the overalls they were in big trouble. Peter Walter and Sean de Villiers did a nice job, but it wasn't going to be giant killing this time around. The side-by-sides battling with the terrain of the 2018 Midas Tzaneen Rally outside on the stage of the top 6. Loert de Klerk did a good enough job to break inside of the top 6 this time around on special stage 6 as they fired the unstoppable Taz out of the gate. On championship points as well, it looked like they were closing things in and tied on championship points with their arch rivals. Marco Ferreira. Johan and Susan de Bruyn in the Nissan Z350. Another top 10 finish would see them climb the ladder and start to put this together a very nice rally overall. Andrea Ross and Caro Storm. Aggression, but possibly a little bit too aggressive in the morning run. This time around on the 17.7 kilometer run. A little bit more space to make a few more stakes and recover. The hand gesture though, telling us a story. Something had gone wrong. This time around, electrical gremlins, and that unfortunately would be the last we saw of the girls at the Midas Tzaneen Rally 2018. Natty Boysen and Johan Smit, even though it's one of the oldest vehicles out there, the Ford Escort, keeps on running and keeps on trucking, and at this stage of the rally would climb the ladder. Anton Ratz and Louis Menga starting to get used to their spare vehicle, as Eddie Simpson and Isabel Roths was now the lead Opel Corsa. It was going to be up to the Tennysons to see if they could start challenging. Getting ready for Roy Copies then, stage number 7 with 3 stages remaining.
Hi, we're Johan and Susan de Bruyn. We're out here for our second outing in Tzaneen. Last year was my introduction into rally. I had a bit of troubles last year. This year is going great. Enjoying it. Thanks a lot for Tzaneen for hosting us.
Stage number 7 then, and the man that was leading the rally by quite a chunk at this point, Thierry Joubert and Henry Kerner gelling well in their Tour de Oris. The big surprise package this year though, a massive improvement for Sher Mohammed to see him sitting in number 2 spot. He was in great form with just 3 stages of the rally to go. The comeback trail was being forged though by Marco Ferreira as he tried to bang home stage victories and start to climb the ladder. This time around though, he was going to be down in 5th place. which would put a halt to his big charge. And his championship rival, Lut, was right on his wheel. Another 6th place finish for Lut de Klerk. Outside of the top 6, everyone was pushing on to see what they could get done. Then into special stage number 8. Once again, Joubert was the fastest man out there, extending off the front. And once again, his closest rival would be Ismail Sheikh Mohammed. Tian Joubert, though, starting to eke out even more tenths of a second as he got faster and faster as the stage went on. At the end of special stage 8, with 1 stage to go, he had all but wrapped up the 2018 title. Sheikh Mohammed certainly put his name in the hat as the most improved driver of 2018, and his confidence will have been bolstered massively by his incredible driving at the 2018 running of the Midas Tzaneen Rally. An improved drive then, after 2 years of trying, so close to getting a stage win. Pierre de Klerk was in good form by this stage as well. Another 3rd place saw him start to climb the ladder and get higher up in the overalls. Himself and Tommy Kutsia had an incredibly consistent rally, not taking too many risks on day number 1 and making hay while the sun was shining. Marco Ferreira and Hannes Pienaar pushed hard on day number 2 to recover from their issues on day number 1. This time around, a 4th place finish was good enough to see them climb the overalls even higher and try and get away from Lut de Klerk. De Klerk seemed to be locked in number 6 as he finished special stage number 8 in 6th place once again. The Subaru was starting to rue the problems that they had on day number 1 that kept them off the podium. With Nico Durant out on day number 1 and now Ronnie Burtis retiring with a broken side shaft, it was up to Peter Walter to fly the flag for the side-by-sides. He did just that. A solid number 5 finish in special stage number 8, and the only remaining Can-Am Maverick trying to get the job done. It wasn't going to be a side-by-side overall victory in 2018 though. Lut de Klerk and JP Morgan came into this round 2nd in championship, just 2 points off the back wheel of Marco Ferreira and the Subaru. They were doing a good job though to try and recover all of those points, but once again a 6th place finish versus a 4th place finish of Marco was going to keep them off the back wheel. Johan and Susan de Bruin did a stellar job to once again bang single digits. Another top 10 finish in the ever-improving Z350 and an improving pairing as well. Johan is turning into a tasty driver, and Susan has figured out how the notes work to give all of the instructions pinpoint perfect to get those times tumbling. Ati Klutter and James Thompson in the Super Impreza were also very impressive. They hadn't pushed too hard on day number 1 or the beginning of day number 2. I'm going to try and see if they could break their way inside of a top 10 overall. By this stage, they were sitting in 7th place on overall timing and scoring. Going on board then, showing how tight things were, and again the feedback from everyone from the 2018 running of the Midas Tzaneen Rally was you could not put a foot wrong, and a lot of drivers didn't go straight into attack mode. They allowed the rally to come to them. Klotter and Thompson were being rewarded for this approach. After running consistent top 10s the whole way through the rally, the Ford Escort of Natty Boyson and Johan Smit had a terminal clutch failure with just 1 stage to go. This would be the last we would see of the unstoppable, up until this point, Ford Escort. ...2017 champions that were missing on day number 1. Kobus Moret and Corne van Tonder picking up a car down in Belito, making the big trip across, and that's how committed they were for lining up on day number 2 of the Midas Tzaneen Rally. They'll be back and they will challenge for yet another championship and more victories, with rallies and events still to come. No seat time, no setup, no prep. Not a bad drive still coming home in the 314. They'll see what they can do on the final stage to take a few scalps. That's what we like to see. Get it all down to zeros and start once again. Anton Raths and Louis Menga, this time around in their V-Dub Golf. Remember, they had the big roll over on the night stages of day number 1. and they still wanted to commit to racing. As the rules apply, they got out their spare car and carried on the game. The big mine shaft, a key feature here on the stage that we raced a couple of times throughout the weekend. And they'd be drawing a line under it before we went into full tarmac attack mode. That was going to be our final stage, super special stage number 9, to draw a line under this incredible 2018 running of the Midas Tzaneen Rally. Eddie Simpson and Isabel Ruths, they were hands-on, the fastest of the courses, and still playing the gentle game of rally, letting it come to them, not going into full attack mode, saving the vehicle. And they'd had no problems on the Corsa up until this point. That was stage number 8. Job done. Head home and get ready for a tarmac. Bianca and Nick Tennyson, the daughter driving and the father on the notes, they seem to have gelled well throughout the weekend as they started to understand each other's language. Remember, it was always the two sisters in the chair together. This time around, it was Nick, trying desperately not to shout at his daughter and keep the notes nice and clean. The Corsa was in good shape as the 292 once again would bring it all the way with completed stages to line up on Super Special number 9. Peter Palooza having his throttle problems on day number 1 and also not in great form on day number 2. Unfortunately, the local favourite would be plummeting down the charts. Eventually, he would go on to score an overall finish of the rally down in 19th place after having issues on day 2 as well. Palooza, though, was all about the crowds, and he was looking forward to seeing his huge fan base as they lined up on the streets of Tzaneen. Keith Delport and Marie Ducassi in the Nissan Skyline, they did a nice run there as well to bring the Skyline home. They were the one crew that said this was the best laid out Midas Tzaneen Rally that they had competed in. Join us after the break as we wrap up shop to attack the final racing stage, stage number 9, the tarmac, and a goodbye once again to Tzaneen.
This time, sports cars to dream about. Tech Today with Mercedes Electric EQ concept. Yachting and motorsport have more in common than you might imagine. And classic cars in the Scottish Highlands.
A woman's place is
wherever she wants it to be. She is not defined by this nor that.
I don't need to ask a lawyer, Bill. I am one.
She is a force, a reckoning of nature, an instrument of change, just waiting to be unleashed.
All of us want to say it! I just do!
She is your house, your home, your rock. She is a provider, a change maker, a boss.
Hey, you gonna do it with it? And then that? What about that? You know I can't move enough.
She is all this and more. And you know, she's just getting started. To all the women out there, because you wear so many hats, we take ours off to you.
Demand Kraftwerk, the tool brand used by professionals the world over.
Heading into the final stage of the Midas Tzaneen Rally, we caught up with a few drivers and co-drivers to talk about the final stage and how the rally's gone up until this point.
Well, so we at the second last stage, or last stage happening now in a couple of minutes, and 8 minutes time or 9 minutes is my navigator. So yes, now we had a great event. I think last night in the dark we had this issue in stage 3 that cost us about 5 minutes, but we made it up this morning, so we had a very good event. I mean, these stages are fast. It's tricky in the forest, as we all know, so that was excellent. We loved it. The car loved it. It suits our car, and yeah, at the moment we're leading.
Hi, it's Eddie Simpson. I'm part of the organising committee for the Tzaneen Rally, which I think we're very proud of. And we've got the best stages in the country. I've been around the country and I think Tzaneen is great. We've had a very good turnout. and the day is perfect. So we're still in the race. We've just got the last star stage to do, and then hopefully park the May and finish.
Hi, my name is James Thompson. I come from Pretoria. I'm navigating for Atikluta. Today we had a bit of troubles with we had to fix our fuel tank. We took a little bit of lateness, but we got through it. We had a few nice stages. I'd also like just to thank, first of all, Cars Flying For You for sponsoring our entry, and Tzaneen Midas and everyone that's involved in organising the rally.
Before the crews got their chance to go and attack the tarmac, the Cooper drifting display team were on point to warm up and rev up the crowd. And the challenge was always going to be thrown down, who could do the best drift. Last time around, Peter Palooza was the crowd favourite, and once again, once the drifted had cleaned shop and got the job done on the tarmac, it was going to be the chance of the surviving rallyists to go out and get the job done for the final time of asking. Stage 9 was going to be a nail-biter once again. Before the racing got underway for the final time of asking, it was the drivers and co-drivers on the back of the buckies getting up close and personal with a big high five to the crowds and the massive crowds that once again lined the streets of Tzaneen. The Midas Tzaneen Rally has become an extremely popular event over the years, and year on year we see bigger support on the sidelines from all of the sponsors, as well as people coming from far and wide to compete and spectate at this crazy event. Tian Schubert and Henry Kerner have dominated the 2018 running of the Midas Tzaneen Rally. By this stage, almost 9 minutes in hand over their closest rival. You'd think they'd slow down the pace, but oh no, a racer is a racer. And the S2000s are oh so spectacular on the tarmac stages. S2000, to you beautiful people at home by the way, meaning that it is an all-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive chassis, and all that power is getting stomped down. 2 litres of race-tuned perfection on the Salom Spect race vehicle. Schubert and Kerner had nothing but incredible positive statements to make about the Tzaneen Rally. Of course you would, if you walk away with a 9-minute lead come the end of the event. But that said, they said the roads were graded perfectly, the event was run spectacularly, and they will definitely be back. The most improved man year on year has to be Ismail Sher Mohammed alongside Pierre Jourdan, only finishing outside the top 3 on the rally twice. The rest of the time they were inside of the top 3, and they are definitely looking like they are coming to grips with this national spec vehicle. They know exactly how to get the most out of it, and driver and co-driver are gelling extremely well as they will close in on 2nd place overall at this year's running of the 2018 Midas Tzaneen Rally. Small mistakes, small time and points losses, but overall 2nd on the event will send this crew home with a big smile on their faces. Another crew that barely finished outside the top 5 overall and allowed everyone else to make the mistakes around them. Pierre de Klerk and Tommy Kutsia in the rear-wheel drive vintage version of the Toyota Corolla had one hand on the trophy come halfway through day number 2, and it was a formality to get the job done on the tarmac / gravel section. About 900 meters of lastminute.com thrown in to make sure there was a little bit of dust throwing out as well. Marco Ferreira and Hannes Pienaar would get the job done as well. Unfortunately, their problems at the end of day number 1 would see them climb no higher than 5th overall in the rally, but still they would be the fastest of the Subarus and still in with a shout of the overall championship in 2018. A broken ball joint was their cause of issues on day number 1. Peter Walter and Sean de Villiers, as we said, the only surviving side-by-side this time around, and once again spectacular. 2017 was the first time we saw all of the side-by-sides homologated and allowed to come and enter in one of the Arrow Rally events, and it's a decision that has really borne fruit. Potentially, we could see around about 7 or 8 of these vehicles coming and making the lineup in 2019 when once again we host the event. A little bit of a wide line though on the final stage, and just missing out on some spectators and some electric poles, but that didn't really stop their charge and their position in the overalls. Peter Walter and de Villiers flying the flag for the Can-Am Maverick squads. Lurt de Klerk and JP Morgan in the Toyota Taz coming into this round, running number 2 spot in the championship, just 2 points adrift of Marco Ferreira and Hannes Pienaar. They did a good enough job to finish a rock-solid single digits here at the 2018 running of the Tzaneen Midas Rally. The Tazes have been a big feature. In fact, this was the first year that we saw as little as just 2 of the Tazes entered. In the past, we have seen up to 10 of the unstoppable Tazes entered into this event, and we know there's a ton of them still running out there. This is one of the Cinderella stories of the 2018 running of the Midas Tzaneen Rally. Johan and Susan de Bruin breaking their way into a top 3 overall, and that just shows you the improvement on driver, co-driver, as well as form and machinery. Last year, it was pretty much out the box, straight off the road and into rally. This time around, it's a fully fledged rally race prep machine. Great job to Johan and Susan de Bruin and the Nissan Z350 that is now becoming a championship and event threat for wins. No stage victories as yet, but they can't be too far away. Watch out for 2019, when you may see this car tickle the podiums every now and again. Ati Klotter and James Thompson did a good enough job, even though they had some issues and had to take some penalties on day number 2. The Subaru Impreza entry 404 still ran in single digits inside of the top 10 overall, and again was one of the most consistent crews on the page. Not too far from the top 10 every single stage we went out and went racing. They had nothing really to gain by dropping the hammer in the final Super Special Stage 9, so they just brought her home. Kobus Moret and Corne Van Tonda, our Johnny-come-latelys on this year's running of the event. Great to see them once again out there on full attack mode, and we will see them in 2019 with this vehicle at full race prep and ready to go and attack to try and be champions once again. Remember, they are outgoing champions for 2017. They know what to do, but with a brand new race car just picked up the night before, just to be able to line up is a huge effort. So great run on the final day for Kobus Moret and Corne Van Tonda in the second of the Toyota Tazes. Anton Ras and Louis Menga looked like they were on point for possibly a top 3 overall in the Rotary Mazda on day number 1, but having that big rollover in the night stages, they had to go and grab their spare vehicle. The V-Dub Golf was grabbed and did a nice job for them as well. Yeah, they had to take a ton of penalties and they would finish outside the top 15 overall, but they would go down as finishers of this year's event. Eddie Simpson and Isabel Roths were once again in that dogfight to see who would be the fastest of the Opel courses. Bianca, always aggressive on the tarmac. In fact, she does say that is her biggest attack, and she does like going into the tarmac stages and giving it 125%. Nick Tienessen, probably very quiet on the notes, just hanging on there and trying to bring it home on the 166, the Baby Hulk. Peter Palooza, once again, always going to go wild on the tarmac for the crowd. He's a local man, he's locally known and worshipped in the world of rally alongside Willem Morgan, and the Nissan Sentra is easily recognizable on the streets of Tzaneen. Our final finisher on the event would go down as Keith Delport and Marie Ducassi in the Nissan Skyline. And once it was job done, everyone parked up their cars in pre-race to get ready for the celebrations, and the party was going to be wild at Tzaneen, as everyone had had an incredible drive and event for 2018. This event also marked the 5th anniversary of Arrow running as a full championship, as well as their 33rd consecutive Arrow Rally. Arrow is definitely on the up, and we can see tons of support coming in the future. Prize giving then, everyone was just getting ready to get their big high fives and walk away with their trophies. Eddie Simpson was on point to thank all of our dignitaries VIPs, as well as Kobus giving a nice big event wrap up. To Henny and Krista Smith, as always, a nice big thank you and a presentation of all of the rally cars presented to our key players. And once again, a big thanks to Midas Tzaneen for hosting us for this event. Then it was going through all of the drivers and co-drivers with some spectacular trophies being handed out. Once again, 2018 gave us 21 cars and crews making the trip up. And I think everyone can agree, in a very stacked 2018 calendar, it is very cool that everyone finds the time and the budget to come up to Tzaneen and do the race. The idea of giving the guys their big high five as well and giving the TV coverage has bolstered numbers and giving a nice, much bigger footprint to the guys coming in and hosting the Tzaneen Midas Rally. For 2018, we saw 3 side-by-sides. For 2019, we have a predicted 5 entries coming into play. Round number 4 of the series will be Cullinan on the 25th of August, and everyone is starting to look for the final points and what is available to go forward for the trophies come the end of the season. Shir Mohammed is going to be happy with his massively improved drive. And here's a breakdown of the categories. In Group A overall, it was Ati Clotter and James Thompson that walked away with the win. And in Group B overall, it was Johan and Susan de Bruin getting the win. And the first win taken ever by the Z350 Rally Spec. Group C overall was Lourdes de Klerk and JP Jourdan getting the win. And then in Group D's overall, Eddie Simpson and Isabel Roth getting the win ahead of Bianca and Nick Tienessen. In the open category, Tian Joubert hammered the field alongside Henry Kerner, but a much improved drive from Shir Mohammed saw the 2 spot. In the side-by-sides, Peter Walter and Sean de Villiers, the only surviving entry. With Tian Joubert not scoring in the championship, it's Ismail Shir Mohammed that took the win alongside Pierre Jourdan and Johan and Susan de Bruin, their best ever finish of the season, or their careers, with a solid number 2. And our final finishers of the event going to Keith Delport and Marie Ducassi.
I just want to thank everybody for all the support and all the help, the medics that helped us when we rolled the vehicle. Everybody that was involved, awesome, Midas, thank you so much. Next year is even going to be a much bigger event, and if there's anybody that wants to come and have a look and see what a great rally looks like, next year we are back and we will be here again. Thank you.
Arrow once again hosting an amazing Midas Tzaneen Rally in association with Midas Tzaneen, Pretoria North Toyota, Autobar Fitment Centre and Raceline Motorsports. The next event on the Arrow Tour is round 4. It's going to be Cullinan on the 25th of August. We'll see you guys there.